So, welcome back to the program. If we can call it a program, I'd like to imagine myself having a program, so I say welcome back to the program. Ladies and gentlemen, our spiritual journey continues. And I'm glad that a lot of people are responding to the new, improved Jesus Christ of trading. Now, you know this isn't gonna last, people. My mellow mood is skating along the lines of insanity. My mellow mood, only a forced meditative state to suppress the rage bottled inside me, ready to come bursting at any minute. Because you know I could bring it. You know I will again. But we're saving it all up for what's going to happen in 2010. This is going to be our year. My followers, my people, my hit the bidders, my suck my NASDAQ people that have been with me day one. Remember what kind of quest we're on right now. Remember the quest and the belief and how much easier it is once you accept and embrace the horror, what I bring to the table. So far since the new revelation and the new awakening has begun, have I given anything that has been bad advice? I told you all to stay long the market without any repercussions. There will be no repercussions. I told you not to, what was the word I used? Can't remember right now, but just accept the fact that I'm privy to some information that you don't have. Now, I'm not saying I have insider information, but I can say maybe it is divine intervention. Look at my portfolio, the portfolio that I said I will not change, either 100 shares or 200 shares of the Akamai, the Broadcom, the HIG, my biggest position right now, the Digital Globe. Of course, owning the Qs, you'll never go wrong with the NASDAQ continuing to go higher on a relentless pace. The diamonds. Some of my sleeper picks have awoken. But I want to talk about what exactly I was telling you to do, because I couldn't get more in-depth and in detail with the stock than this HEAT. Heat. Another one of these hyped up China companies. And of course, if you want to just accept the fact that we all go up and every stock will go up, there are loopholes to the rule. When I say Dow Jones 20,000, that doesn't include these Chinese stocks. Oh no, my friend. Because for all we know, Baidu might be the only real company that comes out of China. Half of these companies just fall apart, go back to where they came from, and nobody talks about them again. Remember the Red F? Remember the Indian Google, Red F, huh? How about that one? Remember EFUT, E-F-U-T? But what I suggested to you that what you should have been doing, and the answer is yes if you want to know if I did this trade. And I told you I was only doing it on a small scale. Therefore, this was one of those trades that would probably work out. But of course, the moral of the story and the rest of the story is tragic, because I decided to try to trade along with the winning options position, therefore ripping the money from my hands once again. Okay, but let's talk about the heat. I suggested that you buy. There was 3 suggestions. Either we were going to go pure straddle, because I said the stock was allowing us to get the purest price of the options, with the stock closing at around 12 and a half the day before the earnings reports came out. That afternoon, closing at around 12.50, we were getting what should have been the fairest value for your options. But what I told you to do along the lines and over the last couple of weeks is anytime the HEAT, known as Smart Heat Incorporated, anytime that stock dips, let's start buying our 12 and a half calls here at 35.40, 45.50, 55.60. Next thing you know, the stock has gone our way. So we're already in a profit on those calls, but I was hanging on, and I wasn't suggesting to take any profits off the table. I'm not going to give any illusions, because the idea was that this stock was either going to go to 15 or 18 bucks or back to 5 or 6 or 7. But we did manage to get into those 12 and a half calls at a decent price. And if you wanted to take profits, you could have been done with the position. Now, when the stock started to rise, I said this would be a great opportunity. We're profitable on the call side. Now let's get into those puts. And I suggested you get into the 12 and a half puts. Because with any Chinese stock, what can be released is the final comeuppance of a stock that we have no idea how to judge, how to rationalize, how to even think about if the earnings reports are real. So what do? What read as a great highlight, a great headline, and a great quarter was obviously not as good as the headlines read. And there you have your lay person, your common folk saying, yes, this stock's going to explode today. Look at the headline. And the stock opened up down $1.50. And I said, hang on, people. Because the stock did not attempt to make a reversal. As much as I wanted to believe that maybe it would reverse, because in this market everything does seem to go back up, that's where my trading went incorrect. But the moral of the story and the position that I told you to do was the 12 and a half straddle and hang on to it until this thing went to 10 to offset the losing call side. Basically, the stock went down enough to basically make money on any position that I suggested. Either buying the stock, if you were long the stock, I suggested buying the 12 and a half puts and the $10 puts. If you were going to buy, if you didn't want to buy the stock, I suggested getting the $10 calls and the 12 and a half dollar puts and the $10 puts, and writing the $15 calls for the next month, which was in a way bearish biased. But if we did get that move to 15 or 16, it would have outweighed all of that stuff. So the moral of the story, I handed you another one. And I know it's very difficult to embrace the horror, the digital globes. But remember, this is day 4 or day 5. And we're not going to talk about the past. So let's pat ourselves on the back. I'm glad you guys made money in the digital globe. I'm glad you guys made money in the HEAT, smart heat, which brings me to the last of the third of the 3 since the revelation, since the spiritual awakening, was the NYX. I said, here's a stock that nobody likes anymore. Here's a stock that'll probably go to 30. Why? Because it is. There was no any explanation for it. I said, here's a stock that's been unloved for so long, it's finally creeping up. I will guarantee that stock will hit 30 over the next few weeks. One of those stocks that I only own 100 shares of, because anytime I only own 100 shares, and you're talking about a guy who's done pretty well in the industry, and I know that you're confused sometimes about how awful I tell people that I've done. And it's true. I have blown through more money than a lot of you will ever see in your lifetimes. And I'm not a happy man. And things are really, really inherently wrong. And spiritually, I've been tested. But now I've found myself again. Things, I will have to just take the small winners, but I will allow you to exploit me for the loser that I am. Because I will let you know when I go big, because those are going to be the losers. I will know, I will inform you when I sell out of stocks, because those will be the true blue winners. And I will tell you when I only own 100 shares. And that's the NYX. And now we're looking at a stock at 30.60, and that'll continue to go up. As well as the other portfolio holdings of the Hartford Financial, which is definitely going to 30 bucks. It cannot be stopped. Akamai will run towards the earnings, which is approximately at the end of the month. And if anybody out there actually thought that the market would go down after a glorious, beautiful holiday weekend, you really, really don't know what's going on. I suggest maybe that you should leave the business. And if you're out there trying to guess when the market's going to just suddenly stop going up and you're going to be short the market and make some money, Don Harold, stop shorting the market. It's going to be shortable one day, but not today.
I would much prefer Krull.